Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again. It is me, screaming into the void of the internet. I want to touch on something that I covered a bit in my last video, as well as a conversation I had with my friend. And it's mainly what I'm talking about is this idea of this world doesn't want heroes, don't try and be one. Now, this isn't necessarily to become villainous per se, but I feel like you should do things that people see as villainy in a certain aspect. That doesn't mean it's villainy, but here's what I'm talking about. My friend was having a conversation, and he mentioned how, man, having a heart seems like it's crappy because, you want to do the right thing and then you get screwed over. And I said, well, define the right thing. Now, I just want to clarify something right now. I'm not really one of these freaking anarchists. I do think that there is a right and a wrong. But I'm also not this relative cocksucker that thinks, well, everything's relative in relation to the cultures that you believe. Yeah, I do think that there is a bit of truth in that, but there is a right and a wrong, whether or not people want to admit that. Because you will notice a pattern, Let's say a Viking, gets him a war bride, struggle snuggle and all that. If you struggle snuggle the Viking's war bride, you think he's going to be too happy about that? So you see, even the cocksuckers that do effed up stuff don't want it done to them because they know what they're doing is effed up. So I'm not going to really hold the opinion that, everything's relative. But I'm saying this for a reason. Because he was saying that along the lines of, maybe if we just didn't have to worry about this, then it wouldn't be as hard. And I said, for me, it's not really hard because what you have to start doing is you have to start being a lot more selfish. You have to start putting yourself at the front and center of all of the decisions that you make in life. And what I mean by this is simple. For the most part, no one gives a rat's arse about you as a man once you, get to a certain point. If they feel like, well, you're in good health, relatively, because maybe you're not perfectly healthy. Maybe you're very mentally effed up, but they say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Go on and get your bootstraps, So they don't really give a rat's arse. But when it comes down to, say, chicks and children, there are numerous, almost endless resources available to them. And the same does not apply to you. Not even close. And so, when I'm talking about being heroic, I'm talking about, these things that people would normally associate with chivalry, good Samaritanship and stuff like that. But what I've said, again, is this. This world does not like heroes. This world does not reward heroes. This world does not like good Samaritans, so don't be a good Samaritan. And I'll give you some examples. I know I said this before in one of my videos for, the few people who might watch this, but the Joker is a prime example. Those guys on the train, in that scene, essentially about to struggle snuggle this gal. She looked to him to do something. She looked at this random guy that doesn't have anything to do with that, and he's supposed to fight 3 dudes for her. But then the moment that she saw her opening, she dipped. And that's not just the one instance. You're seeing instances where, let's say that the guy, it's a one-on-one, and he does win. Let's say that the guy does win, The state will still have him in court. The state will rob him of time that he needs to spend at his job earning money, They will not reimburse him for that. And he could lose the job during that time. He might be one missed day away from firing, one paycheck away from losing his apartment and stuff like that. They don't care. And then he can still go to jail. Well, that was manslaughter. But, Your Honor, I was protecting. I don't care. That was excessive force. It's a clown world. It's a charade show. It's not real. If you have enough money, you're usually always innocent, no matter what. Even if the evidence is stacked up against you, you usually get, easier sentencing. I've seen some insane bastards end up in an insane asylum where they freaking impregnated, several of the freaking nurses. They're living it up. They don't care. They're not dealing with anything. I would argue that criminals have far more rights than you do these days. Because think about it. Let's say that you cross the line and you just excommunicate a bastard. Okay, now you are entitled to 3 meals a day. You are entitled to a roof over your head. You are entitled to clothes on your back. The state doesn't feel that way about you on the outside. You have to buy clothes. You have to buy food. You have to do all this stuff. You can't do it without, the state's okay. Oh, you're fishing without my okay? I'm gonna lock you up. You're hunting without my okay? I'm gonna lock you up. You're powering your house without my okay? I'm gonna lock you up. There is a massive difference between the way that they are treating absolute illegal people, criminals and stuff like that, and you. And it doesn't matter to them the context. It doesn't matter if, it was self-defense. It doesn't matter if you were intervening and trying to do the right thing. And this is why I say, for me, all I have to do personally is put myself at the forefront of the decision making. I'll look at it. I can look at any situation right now, no matter how effed up it is. Or is some chick getting her clothes ripped off in an alleyway? Hold up. Is that my wife? Nope. Is that my girlfriend? Nope. My sister? Nope. I don't see nothing. Is it right? No. Would I love to freaking win the bastard doing that stuff? Yeah. But then guess what I have to worry about? Again, our circus justice system. I have to worry about going to jail for doing the correct thing. Listen, that random arse chick on the street, her life matters just as much as my life. I shouldn't have to be worrying about going to jail because I'm already listen, if everything goes right, if I smoke this bastard, because I already have to wonder about if I'm going to get killed in the process, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But if everything goes right, I still have to worry about going to jail. And most of the time, they're not even really grateful to you. They just feel like that's what you're supposed to do, and they could treat you any old kind of way after that. And I'm not one of these idiots that says that you're entitled to sex or something from them, or you're entitled to love. But the fact that there isn't even at least a bit of gratitude, there's no honor, there's no integrity. They're not even aware. They can't comprehend the fact that you put your life on the line for them. Because you see these instances where it does happen, and I've mentioned this previously. These chicks will walk right over this dead guy's body like he didn't do nothing. Like he isn't, freaking... He's dead. And he tried to save you, and you can't even call 911. You can't even stay and try and see if there's anything that you can do. Just check on him. Nothing. This is why I say, listen, put yourself first. Put yourself first. If you don't know the person, if they don't have anything related to you, and this isn't just for women, this is in general, don't get involved. I'm probably a lot more inclined to help a freaking man, I'm probably a lot more inclined to help a man, because a lot of men will look at that and they'll at least vouch for you, they'll at least appreciate what you did or tried to do. They will appreciate that. But even with kids, you have to wonder about the kids, because there's instances where these freaking evil arse parents will convince the kids to say that, oh, the person who was trying to help the kid, let's say that the kid was about to get kidnapped or something, and you got the kid back and you were trying to find the parent. The kids will try, not the kids, but the parents, when they get the kids, will try and say, oh, convince them that, this person did this and he touched you inappropriately, and then bada bing, bada boom. Because listen, you got to understand that a lot of people, even if they see this, because listen, it's not like, you're the only one that sees this. A lot of other people see it, but they'll walk right by. They don't really feel like vouching for you. They don't want to get involved. And at the same time, I can't blame them, because again, our so-called justice system is a joke. It's a circus system. And so when you have to worry about, living paycheck to paycheck, when you have to worry about being one missed paycheck away from homelessness, not being able to feed yourself and stuff like that, self-sufficiency is going to kick in, and it just is what it is. Okay, I was about to say, I thought that was a freaking car sounding like a motorcycle, but that is a motorcycle. Self-sufficiency is going to kick in, and you have to think, it sucks. I'm far more inclined to help children than I am most adults, but at the same time, you have to wonder, okay, is anyone else around? Is anyone going to vouch for me? Because if I get this kid and I try and help, like, I could still be considered, oh, is that your child? Is that your child? Like, you got to start putting yourself first. And people will tell you that you're cold for doing this. And you know what I'd say? You're right. I am. But who did this to me? Like, why is it that we're always blaming the person? Because listen, it's not like I'm outwardly telling this bastard to go F themselves. I am putting myself first. It's not like I want to do this, but I don't get a choice. Because you don't want, again, people doing the right thing anymore. Incentives drive behavior. And considering the fact that so many of us are being incentivized to not get involved, what the heck are you expecting? Us to get involved? When you've got chicks out here who will literally be in a relationship getting their teeth knocked down their throat, a guy intervenes, F's up the boyfriend, don't hurt my boyfriend, and then she stays with the person, like, freaking abusing her. When you see these instances where this guy helps a kid, the mom gets a hold of the kid, and then she says, oh, say that this guy, touched you inappropriately. A guy defends himself, and then he has to worry about going to jail. Like, even if it's just yourself, you still got to worry about, like, facing your so-called justice system. They have essentially said, no matter, what your opinion of it is, that they do not care about the state that puts you in. They don't care about how screwed over you become as a result. You will have to deal with this one way or the other, Because, everyone likes to say that you're entitled to a free trial. Not a free trial, but a fair trial. But I'm like, what trial is actually fair? What trial is fair when judges have incentives depending on the cases that they're in? When judges say, oh, let her off easier because she's a woman. Oh, it's a kid, so, like, it's not fair. Yes, the heck it is fair. The moment that your arse knows what's wrong and right, like, I really don't give a rat's arse if you're freaking 12, 13, 14, smoke them. Like, to this day, in the back of my mind, I think it was like 2020. I think it was 2020, yeah. There was this article, as well as, like, excuse me, I'm over here stuttering, footage. There was footage of, what shall I say, these, like, two girls. They weren't even over, 14 maybe? And they, like, tried to rob this Uber driver, and they made him crash into a wall. And it killed him instantly. And he had a family. And the worst part about it was the fact that they literally said, please, my phone's in there. They were more concerned about the fact that their phone was in the car than the fact that they got this man killed. This is the kind of world that you live in. And the court's going to 9 times out of 10 do two things, right? They're going to do two things. One, they're going to judge them less harshly. Well, I mean, it's probably already happened, but then again, court cases take like years and years sometimes, so that's not true. And that's a whole other comment I'll make in a second. They'll look at them less harshly because they're women, and then they're juveniles. So they got a double whammy, like they're not going to get the same treatment. You've got people out here that have just done abominable things, and just because, oh, I'm a kid, baby, air quotes, they get less treatment. And then the court, again, like, they're all about making money, so it's within their interest to, like, keep the court cases going on as long as they can. A lot of stuff should get settled with, at most, 2 to 3 appearances. Instead, you're talking about dozens upon dozens upon dozens of appearances in court just to settle this crap. No. It shouldn't take that long. It shouldn't take that long. It really shouldn't. This whole, like, fair trial crap is ridiculous. Like, if you know that the bastard's guilty, why do they still draw breath? Why do we have to pay for them to live, like, when we have to worry about, like, becoming homeless? A criminal doesn't have to worry about being homeless. He still got a home, jail. You know, like, people like to say, oh, well, it's not as good as da-da-da-da-da. These cunts are getting internet now. Like, I mean, hey, they're getting internet. Considering how freaking, air quotes, everybody is pansexual. Like, I mean, you know, if you a bi guy, then you having the time of your life in jail. If you a lesbian, you having the time of your life in jail too. So it's like, what are you talking about? 3 meals a day, the internet. Like, listen, it's not going to be perfect, but they certainly don't have to worry about a lot of the crap we deal with. It just basically, like, from what I say, yeah, you got to worry about your life to a certain extent, but at the same time, in a lot of aspects, a lot of people will tell you straight up, like, certain jails, like, when it's not, like, the really, really serious ones, you know, when they're not housing, like, a lot of the lifers and stuff like that, it just feels more like high school. High school that you don't leave from. That's all it feels like. It is what it is. Like, I mean, you got people who play Dungeons and Dragons in jail and stuff like that. Like, they're chilling. They don't got to worry about the crap you got to worry about. And so, considering that that's our freaking reward system, again, a reward system. It's not a punishment. A reward system in today's day and age. Look at how hard it is to freaking get by. Like, this sucker does not have to worry about money anymore. He doesn't have to worry about food anymore. It's not amazing, but it's also not awful. It could be a lot worse. So, this is what people do who get oh my god, just thinking about it, just think about that for a minute. Like, our people have thought the greatest punishment that we'll do is we'll take all of the responsibilities that they worry about and just say, alright, I'm gonna give you clothes, I'm gonna give you food, I'm gonna give you a roof over your head, I'm gonna give you a bed. Like, sure, it's not gonna be amazing by any means, but I mean, still, you gotta admit it's freaking hilarious that's something that you gotta worry about. So, I don't know, but I'm gonna just say it like this, dude. For me, and for a lot of other people, just put yourself first, because I'm gonna go ahead and admit, yeah, I'm a cold bastard, I'm jaded. I'll go ahead and say that, but I don't, like, express that on everybody. I don't put that on everybody. I'm a very numb person. I have relatively stopped caring about most things. Like, unless it's my territory. You know. If it's not my family, if it's not, like, a close friend, they're on their own. I'm not getting involved, because this society doesn't really look out for people who do. And, you know, if some cunt wanted to run up and tell me that I'm not no real man, then why didn't you get your arse over there? That's it. That's always how it is. Everyone's the outside looking in. But they act like in that situation, they'll act. And I'm going to tell you something right now. There's a lot of people that when put on the spot, they freeze. And I'll give you a story. And whether or not you want to believe this is irrelevant, but I was there. I know, because I saw it firsthand. I was in the car with my family, and we were driving somewhere. And some idiot is in front of us, and he's doing wheelies. And he's in the middle of doing that wheelie. And because he's doing the wheelie, like, you know, he can't see because the freaking bike's up. So a bike is crossing the street where it should cross the street at, you know, this guy on the bike. And because this idiot is doing the wheelie, he collides with the guy on the bike. He's blown off of his bike. He hits his neck on the curb of the street. Dies instantly. Now, he's twitching, and a lot of people think he's alive. But the sheer amount of people that basically just flock, and they just freeze, and they're just looking at this guy. A lot of people will freeze in that aspect. You know, they'll freeze. My stepdad, he actually, you know, sprung into action. You saw very few people actually trying to spring into action. You saw a lot of people freezing. So please do not tell me that just in that instance where, you know, like, no one essentially attacked anyone, you know, but, like, they got, like, freaking injured. Everyone's just looking over there like freaking deers, just freezing up. Don't tell me that if just in that instance people are freezing up, don't tell me that, like, they're not going to freeze up in an actual hostile instance where someone is trying to struggle with someone, where someone is trying to freaking end somebody. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that at all. This is why I say what I say. Look out for yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. Especially not the state. The state is not your friend, man. I don't know why people can't understand this, but, like, I know people look at, like, America and they joke about how, like, you know, there's so many guns and all this stuff, but I'm telling you, man, that crap is necessary, because humans are evil. And not having a way to defend yourself, no matter how much you think that that's a good thing. Criminals do not abide by the rule because they wouldn't be criminals otherwise. Genius. If we banned the guns, then how do they get the guns? Simple. The crime network, you're never going to fully get rid of crime. You know? There are criminals that do things very underground. There are thieves that don't ever, like, wear ski masks. They just wear suits and ties and they freaking, you know, siphon money out of people's accounts. You're always going to have crime. You think that these bastards don't get a hold of freaking guns and stuff like that? Sorely mistaken. Black market is a real thing. People, basically in dang near any country, if someone tries hard enough, if someone has the resources and connections, they can get their hands on some weapons. So, you know, the idea that you're not going to have to worry about that stuff is just sorely mistaken. I just think it's delusional in general. And sorry if you hear these freaking dogs. Can't stand them. It's always something. I just think it's delusional in general that we're in a day and age where you have to worry about that stuff. You're in a day and age where you have to worry about going to jail for protecting yourself, for protecting your family. Doesn't make sense, but I don't know what really does at this point, right? But I'm just going to leave it with this, okay? There is absolutely nothing wrong with looking out for yourself. And no matter how many people try and tell you that you should be concerned about other people, and to that I do agree, you also have to take into consideration, let's just say that there's someone that, you know, relies on you at home as well. You know, a little girl, little boy, brother, sister, you know, a wife, husband, whatever it is, you know, friends. If there's someone that relies on you, then they matter too. And you are putting their arses on the line too when you get involved in that. So you got to make the choice about what you're going to do. For me, I'm going to go ahead and prioritize my health. I'm going to prioritize my life. And if that means that someone else loses theirs, don't blame me. Blame the fact that your system has told you in the first place that they'd much rather protect someone who is doing something diabolical rather than protect the people who made a sacrifice and put their lives on the line. So, remember, incentives drive behavior. That's all I'm going to say on this. I'll leave you with it, and God bless. I'll see you next time.